Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today we have a very challenging scenario. It was sent in by one of my patrons, Colonel Ilbrink, and well, it's almost as hard as the challenge I did yesterday, potentially harder. Now, before I do it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know I recently already called you guys to subscribe to the channel, but this might be the first video that you see of mine. In which case, welcome aboard. I do Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts videos from the depths, at least currently, and various other games that you usually require a bit more brain power for. If you like my content, please subscribe to the channel. Now, here we go. God save the Queen. It is September 1941, and England, having been turned to rubble by the Blitzkrieg, has fallen to the might of the Luftwaffe and Nazi Germany. With the conquest of Europe now complete, Hitler has tasked the former Royal Navy fleet with guarding the waters to the North and Mid-Atlantic from possible US incursion. Hitler's next move is sending the majority of the Kriegsmarine to the Arctic to seize control of the naval base and adjacent air base in Severomorsk. Now, here we go. Meanwhile, the remainder of the Kriegsmarine will join up with the Regia Marina and push through the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov towards Stalingrad. Once Stalingrad and Severomorsk have been captured, both forces will join up with the German army on the Eastern Front in a three-way pincer maneuver to capture and control Moscow. The United States, which has abstained from involvement in the war so far, now finds itself thrust into the war as the last hope for the world, and feels that the best chance of stopping the Axis powers from complete and total domination is to first liberate England and the Royal Navy, which, remember, is currently under German high command. Unfortunately, this means that the Royal Navy, while needed, must be severely weakened, but not completely destroyed, as surviving British ships will be escorted to US naval bases for repairs and needed later to help destroy the Kriegsmarine. All German sailors and officers found will be held as prisoners of war. Here's the challenge. Win condition. Severely damage and or destroy at least 18 out of 25 Royal Navy ships, but keep at least one of each class alive. That is, one battleship, one heavy cruiser, and one light cruiser. Severe damage means reducing structural integrity to below 50%. Now, it's not written here by Colonel Ilbrink, but I'm also going to say that the rule applies for flooding. So, if buoyancy falls below 50%, I'm going to also count that as a ship that is neutralized. Of course, the AI doesn't quite agree with that, because the AI can just go, yeah, well, maybe I'm 50% flooded and I have 50% structural integrity, but that does not mean I stop firing. No, I'm going to keep firing at you until the batteries run dry. Anything else I should know for this scenario? I can build either a 28,000 ton heavy cruiser, and that means I have 75 million for the ship. Has to be 38 knots, main armament 8 to 12 inch, secondaries 4 or 5, or a battleship, 72,000 tons, maximum price 120 million, 34 knots, main guns 14 to 18, secondaries 4 to 6. And the range must be very long, as the ships must be able to cross the Atlantic twice, as only home soil is guaranteed friendly. There's no time limit, and as soon as the win condition is met, make note of all surviving British ships, and after that, feel free to openly engage. So, the enemy has 25 ships. I have 10, 20, and I have to keep a couple of these enemy ships alive. Severely damage and or destroy 18 out of 25. So there's quite a lot of work to be done. Now, I'm going to take a chance here and design the heavy cruiser. This means that my battleships could either turn out really nicely or awfully, as we have seen the AI design battleships before with, let's be kind and say mixed results. So, time to design a ship. Too many ships. Yes, we are going to continue. Now that is definitely the super battleship hull. We're going to go for the heavy cruiser 2. I'm not sure exactly how he was able to get up to a heavy cruiser of 28,000 tons. That seems more in the range of a battle cruiser. So we're going to go with a maxed out heavy cruiser at 21,000 tons. The requirements here were for a very fast heavy cruiser at 38 knots with long range and 8 to 12 inch main armament. 75 million per ship maximum. Now that should be entirely possible for a heavy cruiser to stay below. I'm not really expecting to get that much out of a heavy cruiser. I'm going to try stacking on a lot of survivability here, just to ensure that these heavy cruisers can stay in the fight for a while. Go for induced boilers, aux 2 and shaft 2. And then let's see about the rest. Rangefinders are mandatory, radars are mandatory. Auto-loaders or semi-auto-loaders are very nice to have. And hydraulics, I'm coming back a little bit from my main requirement of always having electro-hydraulic turrets, because overall the ships seem to be perfectly capable of keeping their guns on target. So electro-hydraulic turrets would be nice, but not necessarily required. Alright, main tower. Not a lot of options for this one, because it has these two little, well, slots for anti-air guns / secondaries, but that basically means you only have 3 options on this particular hull. Secondary tower, we're going to put that here, close to the main tower, so that I can potentially put a barbette there and put another gun on it. Funnel, these are a lot smaller. How about going with a double funnel? Oh, Jesus. Maybe not. To be fair, I'm trying to pump a lot of horsepower out of this engine. Forced boilers only put me at 55%. Capacity here is 32 versus 55. So 2 of these put out 64. One of these, which is heavier, puts out 55. However, the smoke interference is potentially greater when using the advanced funnel 1. Nevertheless, it looks like I might need to reshuffle the funnels a little. I'm only getting 83% engine efficiency here. I like my engines running perfectly fine. If I go for one of these and a secondary smaller one, 75%? That doesn't even fit? What if I give it some room? Nope, too big. Now before you go and write a comment saying, hey, why don't you rotate the funnel? It doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked in quite a while, so unfortunately rotating the funnel is not an option. Putting the funnel between the main and the secondary tower is. But I always feel like that's a bit of a waste of space, because it means that you cannot really do much with that space anyway. I think I might be stuck at either an 80-something% engine efficiency or 75 as it is now. I'm also going to have to drastically reduce survivability, because I'm already looking at 18,000 out of 21,000 displacement. That's before adding any kind of guns, so let's get around to doing that. How about a couple of 9-inch guns? My margin was between 8 and 12. 12 is not an option. 8 is, nah, it's okay, but we're going to go with 9s. And these weigh 638 tons per. So let's bring this thing back. Now, time to put another turret on the turn. Jeez, another turret on the stern. That might work. We're looking at about 19,900 tons out of 21k. So maybe I can still make the survivability upgrades that I put on the ship work. Like having a triple hull and an anti-torpedo blister. All of these things will definitely ensure more survivability of the ship. There is one more system that I would like to put on, but they're fairly heavy, and that's torpedoes. Because I don't know to what extent I can actually rely upon my battleships. Because I'm not designing them. So what I'm going to do is put this on a... I suppose... What? Oh, I didn't know you could use those. Interesting. Does a 9-inch turret fit? Huh. Sorry, I I haven't encountered this before. This is one of the new barbettes. But in my memory, it's one that you usually use for a destroyer, that shape. Apparently, you can also use it to house a 9-inch turret. Arguably, this one is a little better. It looks a little better anyway. But this one is only 92 tons. This one is, well, this one, starters, is about 3 times as heavy. And for some reason, there's twice the crew in here. Not that crew is a complaint. Look at this thing. This seems to be better in all regards. It's lighter. It's cheaper. It's crewed by fewer people. Only the target signature is the same. Interesting. Anyway, the reason why I put this barbette up here is so that I can put some torpedo launchers on the stern. And still have decent firing arcs with all of them. Because this is going to allow me to have heavy cruisers with quite a lot of punch. So that if I have to engage the battleship, I can. It does, however, mean that the amount of torpedoes, the size of the torpedoes, and potentially the propulsion is going to be a little bit limited. Or I'm limiting myself to having less armor and or secondaries. Now, as somebody wrote in a previous video comment section, and I think that this is an excellent point, you basically have 3 elements that you want to go for on a warship. It's speed, protection, and firepower. Pick 2. Don't try to pick 3, because you're going to come up with a jack of all trades, master of none. And that, of course, is not going to do anybody any kind of favors. So, in this situation, I'm going to go for speed, since I already have 38 knots. That is quite a decent amount of speed. Fairly healthy amount of firepower, which I might be able to augment a bit more. It just means that I won't have as much when it comes to defending the ship. And unfortunately, none of these slots are allowing me to use the secondary armament, which I would like to use. Or rather, which I'm allowed to use, which is secondaries of 4 or 5 inch. Oh, sorry, the 4-inch do fit. Thankfully. So let's make these things a bane to destroyers by having 12 4-inch guns port and 12 starboard. Sorry, 15 actually, not even 12, 15. Now we're firing high TNT. I'm going to go with normal shells. We have semi-auto loaders. Auto loaders are probably going to be too heavy and would benefit my main armament from 20 seconds to 17. It's a substantial upgrade, but it does mean that I would have to have some other way of avoiding torpedoes. So sonar 1. Turning circles should be really nice with a second shaft or a shaft 2 and an aux 2. Turning circle. Ooh, not that nice. 773. Now, that is at full speed. 723. 680. Let's go with heavy barbettes. Nope. I don't really want the ship to blow up. There. Anti-flood 2. So I'm reducing my survivability slightly, so that I can still have the best loaders and some sonar. Radio is not really required because I'm not a flagship. And that means that I don't have to provide any other ships with a flagship bonus. So, one thing... Oh, shit. Whoops. I might have overlooked that. If I go for diesels... Look at that weight increase. Gear turbines, 21.9 to 24.2. Yikes. Also, my budget is 75 million and I just passed that. So, the ship is too heavy. I'm gonna have to sacrifice something else. Semi-auto loaders? No, that's not enough weight. What do I sacrifice to ensure that I can still get up to or get below my 21,000 tons of displacement. Here, many bulkheads. And then just hope that I don't get hit, which of course goes for any warship, but in this case, particularly so. Turret can fire in a very good firing angle. Range... almost 19 clicks. Range here is 9 clicks. I have some sonar systems. I have torpedo launchers. Could I put these on the bow if I wanted to? I can, but they would... Yeah, let's not. If I do that, they're going to start messing up my firing arcs on the A turret. At least somewhat. There is something to be said, though, for pushing this thing out. And then seeing how far I can move this barbette. Not that far. What if I take the turret and just put it right on the stern? I know this thing looks like shit, but the reason for doing this is to ensure that I have very good firing arcs. Very, very good firing arcs. I just need to put these... Yeah, that impacts them quite a bit. How about that? I know it's unorthodox, but it works. And it can probably provide me with a pretty good firing arc. And then another one, well, here. That doesn't impact that turret. I would need to bring the main turret back, the A turret. Or push the other turret out more. Here. 0.5. Can I counter that? 0.4. I'll take 0.4. And I can then move this one. Unfortunately, torpedo launchers are so light that they don't really do that much for your displacement. Again, I know it looks weird, but the firing arcs are probably going to be really nice. There we go. Perfect displacement. So we got torpedo launchers 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can send out a torpedo salvo of 15 tubes, or 15 torps per side. And that's going to allow me a bit more versatility, so I don't have to turn the whole ship and try to get the other torpedoes away. Complement, 15 torpedoes per launcher. That means 60 torpedoes, which means a total 4 salvos, if the cruisers live that long. Little bit of displacement left. Put some more armor on the conning tower. Put some more armor on the turrets. Put a bit more armor on the turret top. Secondaries. Ideally some more on the belt, but that's probably not very doable. No, deck is far too heavy. 9-inch conning. 9.5-inch conning tower. And that's 20,999 out of 21,000 tons. So I'm 1 ton light. Perfectly balanced. Macon. Here we go. Right. That looks like a very sizable German battleship. And mine does not seem that big. This could be problematic. Oh, but I have 19-inch guns. It's just not very survivable. Does it have accuracy? Stereoscopic 4, generation 2 radar. Not bad. Anti-torpedo 5? That's unusual. Very welcome, in fact. They're just slow at 21 knots. Armor... It's alright. Won't win any prizes, but hopefully won't get killed off very quickly either. Alright, so that's the ships that the AI designed for me battleship-wise. Then we got the light cruisers. 7-inch guns, just a few of them. A lot of triple-inch... Yeah, triple threes. And some 21-inch torpedo tubes because we had some spare, I guess. a single ship in Div 4, the San Diego. I would very much appreciate it if you actually just joined the light cruisers. Oh, the formation is all over the place. This game would benefit so much from having a system where you just say, I want my ships here, here, and here, this formation. No joy. So now I happen to have 4 light cruisers. A San Diego and the Frederick. 2 heavy cruisers side by side. 2 heavy cruisers on the other side. And my 7 destroyers over here. Now these guys, few bulkheads, torpedoes, 21-4. Okay, so the torpedoes are good. Speed is decent. Turning circle, quite nice. Where are my torpedo launchers? Amidships. Single quad. Couple of 4-inch guns on it. Reloads 9 seconds. What are you firing? Heavy shells? Heavy shells. Yeah. Okay. Right. Normally I throw everything together in one group. So into... let's say all the heavy cruisers in one div, all the light cruisers in one div. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to have the Frederick. Or actually... yeah, might as well be the Frederick. The Frederick, the Macon and the Minneapolis are screening for Div 1. That means that Cambridge and Huntington are not. They're in Div 2. I can... well... I was going to say I can have the light cruiser join that div, but the light cruiser is almost 10 knots slower than the heavy cruisers. So actually it's not that tempting. Crap. In that case, I just want this light cruiser to join the other ones. Because I could have 2 light cruisers hunting down destroyers. I don't need to keep a destroyer alive. I need to keep a battleship, a heavy cruiser, and a light cruiser alive. And sink 18 British warships in total. So even with torpedo salvos, I'm going to have to be a bit careful. I cannot indiscriminately torp the enemy and just hope that it kills as many of them as possible. Because I do need a few of them alive. These light cruisers, you're following the battleships. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. The destroyers, unfortunately, are on the wrong side. We have a 3 and a 4 div. Alright, group of Merrill that way. Group of Purdy, turn around. Then we got Minneapolis and Macon and, what was it? Frederick there. Cambridge and Huntington over here. 19 clicks, so they are in torpedo range. Turn starboard. San Diego, turn hard to starboard. For now, I'm going to keep the light cruisers following the other guys. Oh, starboard side. I don't want them to start moving away just yet. Let's see what the Germans have. Or rather, semi-German. Because effectively, it's... well, effectively it's German, but in essence, it's the British fleet. This is going to be a bit painful. That is 12 20-inch guns per ship. 1 777, 30 666. Holy shit, did you see that? Turret all over the place. 30? Okay. 28 4-inch guns, 4 6-inch guns, and then another 12 3-inch. You could argue that those ships are fairly well protected. Then we have 12 8-inch guns on the heavy cruisers. Some torpedo tubes here as well. Light cruisers, insofar as we can see them. Are these light cruisers? No. They're heavy cruisers, just in a separate div. I can't see this one, but I can see you. You're a light cruiser. And you're sporting 15 6-inch guns. Jesus. The Germans have a lot of guns today. Then we have a smokescreen. And a destroyer. That destroyer is also packing a serious amount of secondaries. Torpedo launcher right on the bow. Interesting build. Okay, well, it's not like I'm using normal ships. The plan. Have the battleships engage the German super heavy battleships. I need to get rid of those 20-inch guns, and I need to do that quickly. In the meanwhile, the screening force is going to have to disengage from its screening duties. We're going to have to try and race away from the battleships and try and get torpedoes away. That's the plan. It's going to be done by both Cambridge and Huntington and Frederick and... You know what? I'm going to detach the Frederick. You guys... Where's Fred? What div are you in? You're div 8. Okay, so div 2 is going to join div 8. Fuck's sake, why do you have to be this... Oh, fine. Detach. Detach, because here what they were doing, the Cambridge was going to start following the Huntington. So you get to join div 7. And you also get to join div 7. And now we have Frederick, Cambridge, and Huntington. Don't torpedo, yes, unless otherwise directed. San Diego, follow the light cruisers, which is div 4. Div 4? Div 4. Why? What? Join div 4? Can't. What the hell? Just mingle, will you? Thank you. Yeah. Now we can get to work. I'm going to put it to 3 times and hopefully start doing some damage. I'm really hoping that I can focus fire and pretty quickly put on one of those German battleships. Because having those 20-inch guns fire at me is probably going to be pretty unpleasant. Range the ships. It's 18 clicks, but they're moving away, so torpedoing at this point is useless. Large salvos coming off the battleships. I have hit them, but only caused an over-penetration. Well, to be fair, we're still building an accuracy ladder. Unfortunately, they're getting quite accurate already. And they just chipped the North Dakota for 3% of our structural integrity. We're going to try and continue to follow the enemy fleet. And hopefully not taking too many broadside shells while we're doing it. But pretty much anything that hits at this point is going to go right through the deck anyway. Frederick scored her first hit on what I suspect is a destroyer. Yes. We've hit one of their DDs. Now, the plan for the destroyers is to have one group race that way at 35 knots and the other ones to turn around, the group of the Kincaid. The group of the Purdy. And try to torpedo from the different angle. But torpedo range is limited to 21.4, so we're going to have to get quite a lot closer. They chipped the New Jersey as well. Just a few percentages of damage, but they're still building up their accuracy. So we're just getting started here. Smile for the camera. 3 times speed. Heavy cruisers, status. Frederick, Cambridge, and Huntington. Moving up at 30 knots. There's the torpedo range. Increase to full speed, which in this case is 34 knots because they're in a normal formation. Normal spread. I've detected another warship here. Yeah, they're in a bit of disarray right now. And it looks like they're starting to turn. I'm really hoping to have the heavy cruisers get rid of one of these warships quickly. Just torpedo it out of existence. Oh shit, they damaged the main gun of the Dakota. That could be a problem. Because if they do that again, it could explode. Which would be fairly bad news for the battleship. Yeah, we're gonna have to continue that way. Heavy cruiser's best speed. Minneapolis, Macon, that way. Damn it. Damage to the funnel and fire on the Belknap. Seems like a bit of a weird naming convention. We got the North Dakota, New Jersey, and then the Belknap? Did they run out of states? What happened there? Now, my first priority is just to damage them as much as possible. Just hammer the enemy. The second priority, once the first phase is complete, so once we have done a substantial amount of damage, is to start counting ships and ensure that I keep some of them alive. Now, I have another hit on a main gun. The North Dakota has already gotten her gun damaged, and so did the New Jersey. Just a different turret. But it's not boding very well. And they've done 311, which is almost 8 times the damage that I have done. Range to the battleships. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting relatively close to torpedo range. So continue as going. Continue as she goes. We have hit their ships a few times, but the damage is just not there. But against this destroyer, we might have some effect. Oh, sorry, light cruiser, not destroyer. I'm not sure why this light cruiser is being very, very brave and going on the offensive against a group of heavy cruisers. It really has no job, or it has no place being out here. They are officially in torpedo range of the Frederick at this point, so we're going to make a slight course correction and try to have the rest of the fleet also fall into formation. Yep, there we go. Alright, orders, Div 6, Frederick, target that battleship, Cambridge, whatever you want to call it, over there, and the Huntington over there. Speed 3. Are you selecting my heavy cruisers as the target? They are indeed. They are indeed. Alright. Now we are in torpedo range. I should be leading the target enough. So get ready to sink this battleship. We've inflicted quite a few hits on this light cruiser so far, but nothing deadly. 19 clicks out. It's only a matter of time before a 20-inch shell actually connects with that heavy cruiser. At which point, life is going to get pretty painful pretty quickly. Alright, Frederick launched her spread of torpedoes. I'm going to fall back slightly and wait for the Cambridge to move into position to torpedo her target, which is the second battleship. We have identified the light cruiser. This is the Magdeburg. And she's carrying torpedoes of 21-inch. Fairly visible. Standard complement. Oh, that was painful. Standard complement of bulkheads. I just got chipped for 846 damage thanks to one of those 20-inch shells from the Kaiser Barbarossa. Which we haven't properly identified, but... Oh, there we go. 129,750 tons. Yikes. What's my chance to pen them? 70%. Yeah, it's probably because we're flying right through the deck. At 28 kilometers out. Their accuracy is far less, but they're targeting my heavy cruisers. Which in this case I actually don't mind. Cambridge launched her spread. Huntington has selected the third battleship, or rather I'd selected it for her. And I'm hoping that she too can get her torpedoes away soon. Frederick is flooding. Serious damage, but every weapon system still appears to be functional. Now my DDs are also moving into a position from where they might be able to torpedo. Their range is similar. Unfortunately, they don't carry a lot of them. I have 3 salvos per destroyer. There are the torpedoes. Huntington also torpedoed. Heavy cruisers fall back. Job done. The other DD group over here. Unfortunately, that's not quite where the guys turned to. So at the moment, I can't torp them yet. We'll have to go closer. The other group, Minneapolis and Macon, currently to the west, sorry, to the actually to the west as well, of the DD group. So they're not quite going to be torping yet. Damage done, 1.2 versus 1.4, so we're quite even. Unfortunately, my damage was against the light cruiser. Their damage was against my heavy cruiser. But it does mean that one of their light cruisers might go down. At least, ideally, it does. Looks like the Huntington is now their new favorite target. Yep, there we go, flooding. I hit something all the way out here. Ah, the Kaiser. I'm going to let the heavy cruisers reload their torpedoes and get ready for another attack. Huntington took a big hit. Bow belt extended, 1149 damage was done to that ship. Ouch. Immediately putting the enemy at 2600 damage. Now the torpedoes here look decent. We should see 3 waves consecutively. Yep, 3, 2, and 1. If the Veneta continues as she is, she might get hit. No telling about what the battleships are doing. They might get closer, I don't know. But here is my challenge with this scenario. I need to sink a few ships, but I can't sink all of them. So we're going to have one of these behemoths survive with 20-inch guns. Yes, thank you, but rather not. Increased ammo for torps. Thankfully you don't carry those. Standard complement of shells. Huntington is not going to survive, but Magdeburg is also dead. There we go, Huntington's dead. Merrill, range 21. We need to get closer. Merrill, Dewey, and John R. Pierce are in a loose spread. Should be fine. This is going to be a long battle, I'm afraid. The Veneta has detected the torpedoes and is avoiding. Battleships are continuing along as if nothing's wrong. They take 1 kilometer and a bit to turn. At least we're forcing the Veneta back. Those 20-inch guns are scary. Veneta has detected another set of torpedoes. They really did a number on this cruiser. Half the damage, more than half the damage that was done to my fleet was done to Huntington. Oh, they're also starting to mess the DD up now. What is doing that? A heavy cruisers? Yeah, it must be the heavy cruisers. Oh, incoming torpedoes. Very few. Dewey should be fine, right? Right? Yeah, she's fine. Now the problem that I have is that the battleships are going to start to maneuver as they see the torpedoes coming. So I don't think it's the best use of my weapons at the moment if I launch another salvo. Good hit against Strasbourg. We don't have to keep the light cruisers alive. Oh, no. We have to keep at least one of the light cruisers alive. Oh, these things better not keep harassing me. They carry almost 4,000 6-inch shells. Increased ammo. It's not great. Oh no, the battleships are all turning. No! My torpedo spreads. My beautifully aimed torpedoes, they're all going to miss? Kaiser Wilhelm der Grosse detected torpedoes. Yeah, you don't say, but you're already maneuvering. Why? Damn. Other DD group, status. Purdy. About 13 clicks away from the DDs. Alright. Let's push in. And start killing off some destroyers. Oh, they're going to avoid everything. Look at that. .20-inch shell hits the battleship for 44 damage to North Dakota. So far the battleships are holding their own, but I wonder how long they can continue to do that. This second torpedo spread looked perfectly good, but is not going to hit anything. Or is that the third? Yeah, this is the first. This is the second wave. This is the third. We are forcing the AI to turn their battleships away from the fight. But I'm not really expecting a load of damage from my 19-inch guns against their battleships. Oh shit. North Dakota detected torps. And would you like to fill me in on where you found those? Sonar 1. Here. That's the torps. Turning circle was quite good, so we're gonna have to just turn in. As it stands, I'm not particularly hopeful about this scenario. Switch fire. All battleships. Target the light cruisers. The light cruisers are the ones that are currently torpedoing my battleships. And they have not a lot of bulkheads, so they need to go first. Now, it's a bit excessive using 19-inch guns, but it's also a really quick way of getting rid of a light cruiser. And if they have one of those things somewhere in the back, that'd be great. There goes the Frankfurt. Alright, next target. Strasbourg. North Dakota should be alright. Belknap 2. We're engaging Strasbourg. Flooding inflicted. Hold on. Something's going on here with the Purdy. Purdy, what is hurting you? Heavy cruisers, no less. 17 clicks out. Yeah, that's when they have range. These two German destroyers are working on procreating. So we're going to probably see a little torpedo boat being born in a few months. And the heavy cruisers are maneuvering. They're all moving away? To what end? Where are they hoping to move to? Strasbourg. Strasbourg is a bit out of its depths, as she's getting engaged by the majority of the fleet. Not looking good for her. Heavy cruiser Macon status. 20 clicks out. Jesus. Engage the heavy cruiser. Admiral Scheer. The other heavy cruisers falling back. With their speed, they should be able to rejoin the battle pretty quickly. Then we have why are you guys so spread out? What the hell? Oh god, it's that bug again. Move? Fine. The whole light cruiser group I'm going to just detach. San Diego, get a bloody move on. San Diego, Galveston, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Richmond, thank you. Now we're moving our light cruisers into position where they can actually do something useful. Instead of just, I don't know, limping around. Getting stuck. Oh, there's more procreation going on. Interesting. In that case, Purdy. See if you can get a 2-for-1. There goes Strasbourg. That's the light cruiser dead. Perfect. Waters. Target the V3. Torpedoes away. Oh, water's already torped something. Huh. Kincaid also already torped something. Oh crap, this group didn't have its torpedoes disabled, or not all of them did. Lovely. Now, there was nothing said about keeping destroyers alive, so if I can just murder these, then that'd be lovely. Allowing me to get quite a bit closer to the Barbarossa over here. My battleship group is getting a bit beaten up. But I feel like I have to keep closing on the enemy because they keep running away. So I cannot just turn and hope for the best. But I can maybe hit some of their battleships, because I'm not really eager to try and that with the heavy cruisers. What's with all the DDs and the light cruisers just malfunctioning lately? It's unusual. Might be a bit of an unwanted side effect of the new formation system that they implemented into the game. Damage done, 8,400. Yeah, that's because I butchered a couple of light cruisers. Crap. These things are not really good at surviving shit. Oh, now you start to move? I call bullshit. I call bullshit, because they didn't even detect the torpedoes yet. The moment that I engage them, they just suddenly untangle themselves and go, hold on a moment. You can't do that. That's illegal. Well, what you guys were doing over there wasn't particularly legal for ships to do either. Admiral Shear. Heading away. Many bulkheads, decent speed. Solid cruiser, this one. My battleships are slowly but steadily getting, well, taken apart. Koenig. Ooh. That was a good chunk of damage on the North Dakota for 135. We really haven't done much damage. At least not against their big ships, not against the battleships. And sometimes I hope that they run out of ammo, but with 835 shells, that's just not very likely. Now, the DDs were kept in reserve, waiting for the torpedoes to, well, not spook the enemy battleships. Minneapolis is also getting butchered. I think this scenario is going to be fairly impossible. Secondaries on the V1 here. I can actually range that far with the 8-inch gun. It's impressive. Waters is the new DD leader. Engage V1. Did those torpedoes jolt you guys into action? Because I'm not even seeing them anymore. Yeah, it seems like it woke them up from their extracurriculars. V1. How quickly are you going to sink? Many bulkheads? Oh! Ow! 309 damage on the waters. Well, there's going to be a lot of waters inside the ship at this point. She's terribly flooding. And she is dead. Lovely. We're starting to get quite a decent accuracy with those 4-inch guns at this point. I can't wait for this thing to sink, because those torpedo launchers are not looking friendly. Now, I do have to... Oh, we're flooding. Screw it. Hold on, screw it. No, these guys are screwing again. See, this one is putting up a very seductive smokescreen so that the V7 can, shall I say, come up from behind. What are these German destroyers doing? What the hell are they up to? These German behemoths are just oh, Kincaid got a flash fire. These German battleships are going to be really hard to sink. Those behemoths. Cone has launched torpedoes. Purdy is still reloading. I don't think Kincaid is going to live to see the V1 sink before it. Oh, Kincaid also sent a section of torpedoes away. Good. Now, there are various concerns that I have at this point. My battleships are taking more damage than they're putting out. At least when it comes to battleship versus battleship action. My torpedoes somehow miraculously get avoided. Even when they can't even see them. And I'm not going to be able to continue this fight. Do all the damage that I need. And not run out of ammunition. Because I still carry 500 shells. But I think we're going to see some of those shells just sink with the ship. There's not that much that I can do against that. My DDs are not quite capable of getting close enough. Oh, Kincaid's getting torped. Yeah, Purdy too. We're going to have to torpedo beat a little harder here. Look at this guy. Not a care in the world. Damage input and output's fairly even. 434 and 428. I think everything is overpenning here. V1 detected torps. Yeah, no surprise because we just launched those. But that does mean you have a pretty good sonar. Sonar 3, yeah. Ah, they spotted the DDs. Excellent. Well, not for the DDs. Macon, you can turn back. You can move here. Macon, you can start turning back really quickly now before that battleship just takes one good look at you and decides that your life is now forfeit. Which it can definitely do with 20-inch guns, as we have seen. Crap, it didn't launch all the torps. One of the launchers either got blown off the ship, yeah, like that, or failed. Because I should have launched 15 torps, and I only launched 10. Come on. Even though the 20-inch torpedoes do a decent chunk of damage, against an anti-torpedo 4 barrier, plus standard bulkheads, plus many standard bulkheads, plus anti-flooding 3, and AUX 4, my chances of getting torpedoes to actually kill are really, really terrible. Oh, hi Philadelphia, you're finally here. You're immediately starting to throw torpedoes at the enemy. Well, you know what I guess what's happening? The AI is getting some sort of vengeance for what was happening yesterday. When I was playing that scenario of the William D. Porter. And it seemed like the AI was getting completely terrible ships on the enemy fleet. Everything on the enemy fleet had minimum bulkheads. And now, this is the way that they redeem themselves. With some serious firepower. Damage to the main gun, 0.2. Good going. And that was with a 9-inch shell. Sorry, 19-inch shell. Heavy cruisers are desperately still trying, in combination with everything else, to try and do enough damage against the DD here. That V1 has definitely been alive for far longer than it should have. Here we go, another stuck ship. Come on. See, if these ships are tasked with following each other, I get it. But they're not. Because Cone is the div leader. And Kincaid is still capable of doing speed. She's still capable of making 19 knots, but she's just not doing it. Here, if I detach her, perfectly fine. And I wasn't telling this group to start following somebody else either. So this is most definitely a bug. Now, can we finally get some torpedoes on the Kaiser here? Yeah, we're gonna have a few hits, but... 2, maybe? Surely you spotted those. 1? Poink, 96. That's it. We are going to need substantially more damage. Oh, there's another salvo on the way. DDs. Hello. Time to join in. Battleships, secondaries against the V3. Finally, 59 damage. Another hit. Another flooding. Structural integrity dropped 3%. That's how little a 21-inch torpedo does against this particular ship. And they have 4. So it's not like it's going to be something that I can just rely upon to repeat time and time again. No. Because they're going to be very, very survivable against torps. And if torps don't work and my guns don't work, that really leaves one more option. And that's to ram. Just use the entire ship as a weapon. But that's... well, I probably don't have enough ships to pull that off. I'm getting some damage against these DDs here, but again, they're not sinking fast enough. Philadelphia is taking a lot of fire here. Switch fire to the V7, please. Are the DDs? In all states of disarray. Alright, I want you to follow the Cleveland. So join div 8. I want you to also join div 8. I have a few too many separate ships now. I'm not really expecting Philadelphia to sustain this many hits for a long period of time, but it seems to be mostly heavy cruiser shells. Just a lot of them. Chance to hit's pretty good. 14%. But that condition that says you need to keep some of them alive is just so difficult. How are we doing with the torpedoes from the DDs? Not great when it comes to the John R. Pierce. Dewey has also launched, Merrill has launched, but they're once again showing that their survivability is exceptionally limited. Torps. Oh, you're about to get hit. You got hit by 2, putting your survivability at 85%. Buoyancy, perfect. Not a care in the world. Giant holes in your ship? We call that Tuesday. Happens a lot. Now let's see if I can at least murder this destroyer, now that I'm very close to it. She's taking a lot of hits. 1300 damage, 1400. I'm turning in to avoid getting torpedoed by the V7. Come on. 1600 damage. Don't torp me now, buddy. Structural integrity dropping quickly. Buoyancy dropping quickly. Come on. There we go. Dead. Next. The German fleet, to their credit, is staying in a really tight knot group. Except for the DDs. But the heavy cruisers and the battleships, they're all sticking really close together. Meaning that it is very difficult for me to try and untangle this knot and just pick some of them off. It's a sort of a double or nothing move. 82% structural on the Kaiser, and that's it. After eating several torpedoes. Kaiser Barbarossa is at 86. König 95 and Heimdall 100%. Not really having taken any kind of damage. Philadelphia, time to smoke up and charge in. I do like how the fleet here is cleaning up the enemy destroyers. Especially those 4-inch guns are going to come in useful, but my heavy cruiser are almost out of ammo? It's not like you've contributed that much to the fight yet, buddy. There goes the Merrill, which is a DD over there somewhere. Next DD, V6, which also seems to be suffering from that help I'm stuck bug. Not quite. Oh, Jesus Christ. North Dakota got a flash fire. Whee! There goes the turret. That's not where I parked my turret. Just imagine the sheer violence of force that you need to fly a 19-inch turret off of a battleship. Because these are not small turrets. They must weigh 1,400, 1,500 tons each. And then just still pop like a champagne cork. Now the V6 is taking some damage. I wonder if I can awaken it from its stupor by torpedoing it. If there's still something left to torpedo by that point. Torpedoes away. You're gonna wake up now? Yes, it did. V6 detected torpedoes and went, oh shit, 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 shit. We have to get out of here now. Pretty impressive range at which you detected the torps too. About 4 kilometers out. There are... Nah, I think these are... They're not the normal torps, they're not the electric torps. They're not the fast, so they must be the normals. Visibility plus 15%. That's probably from being 21-inch instead of 18-inch torpedoes. Oh well. Damage done 14k, damage taken 15k. So we're still fairly even when it comes to taking and doing damage. Cleveland, this way please. Just join the division of the Philadelphia if you don't mind. What? Ah, yes. Division system can still be quite confusing, how the ships reorient themselves or sort themselves once you've selected one div and decided that you want that div to follow another one. So now we're going to have the Philadelphia, then the Cone, then the Purdy, and then the Cleveland behind that. Yeah, that does not make a lot of sense to me. V6 danced around the torpedoes. Seems to be once again going back to sleep. I don't get it. Okay, sure, it has 3 broken engines, and it's flooding, but... no, you just torpedoed a dead man. That was still fairly unusual. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call this one a win for the Germans. If I had designed the battleships myself, I might have had a slightly better design. But I would have been limited to 72,000 tons. The battleships that I have now are significantly larger at 85,000 tons. Almost 86 actually. And while they're not terribly survivable and they're not very quick, they are doing some damage. Especially this one. The New Jersey did a good amount of work, but could have been killing off 2 light cruisers. I don't see a path to victory. I don't see any way of neutralizing the battleships. I don't see a way of keeping enough of these ships alive on my end to do enough damage against theirs. So, I'm going to hand this one to the Germans. Scenario failed. It's just not proving to be possible because I cannot get rid of their ships fast enough. And considering that they can damage my turrets, and, well, they already popped 1 turret, they might do it again on the New Jersey, meaning I only have 1 battleship. When that one's down, I only effectively have heavy cruisers, which, sure, carry torpedoes, but as we have seen, torpedoes are not terribly useful against these targets. So, unfortunately, Colonel Ilbrink, your scenario proves to be too hard. I did enjoy the challenge. I like how you were thinking, hold on, maybe this is possible, but unfortunately, doesn't seem to be. And we're going to have to come up with something else for another time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the attempt. Let me know what your thoughts are on how I should have approached this different. And again, if you're not subscribed yet, then please hit that subscribe button, because it really helps me out. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for another video.